Okay, so I got my screw cut. I can put this screw, I can now drive it all the way in, and that hole, that hole is not even close to being obscured. So now the juice is going to come up from the bottom, and it's going to splay out on either side of the what used to be coil leg hole in the post. And now I'm pretty much ready to put this thing. I'm just going to stick it on my green Rio today. So here's my O-ring that I use. I just pick these up at Home Hardware or Ace or whatever. It's just pretty much the perfect size to fit in the drip well. So you get that sort of thing going on. And also the O-ring allows it to be a little squishy when it comes to turning these things in. I always want to kind of get my posts to line up like that. It's not really super necessary, I guess, but the reason why I do it is when you get your cap. I've drilled the cap out, by the way, in this thing too. By default, these things always come with the super small air hole. I'm kind of like back when I had my my Zen, my Zag. People always complained about the really easy draw. I actually really like the easy draw, so I always drill up my caps to a fairly big hole. But the reason I line my posts up like that is so that my wick, the way I build these things, my coil always ends up sitting like this. So therefore I want my air hole to be dead front of the Rio. I also do that too because just the way that I vape, when you fill these things full of, when you squonk them full of juice, if you hold the device like that when you vape, hold the hole down, obviously the draw goes to hell, juice starts to leak out of them and everything else. I just naturally hold it so that this hole, just by virtue of gravity, is up. So there you go. That's why I do what I do. So I guess, oh, look at that, eh? What's this? Squonk! Ha! Guess now that I've made a mess for me to build on, but as you can see, it works. Alright, so now for the build on these things, just refer back to my my video on the Era oval coil bamboo thing. I'm doing the exact same thing on these. There's virtually no difference. This thing is almost set up. The post distance, the way the holes are, everything else. The only difference with this one, get some focus going on here. The only difference with this one is instead of running your positive coil leg through a hole in the post, you're now just doing a one wrap around the screw, and then, and then basically, nothing too, is you want to take it and wrap your canthal in this direction around the screw so that when you tighten it, it wants to suck it in, as opposed to if you went the other direction, when you tighten it down, it's opposite of the rotation of the canthal and it wants to splay it out. I know, I'm probably stating the obvious to a lot of people, but surprisingly enough, well, it is what it is. So that's about it. Again, it's ready for wick and coil, and I'll stick my little cap on there, and it's done. These things are remarkably small, and they're smaller than an Era. This Era has been modded. I lased the little mushroom top off of it, but as you can see, it's almost, line up for the camera there, it's almost maybe 5, 6, 7 millimeters shorter than an Era is, and Eras are pretty tiny. But again, there's not a whole lot of material to this cap. It is small, and when you're running a hot coil, as virtually all mine are, these things do get hot. With the Era, which is officially stainless steel, and there's some meat in this cap. There's some meat in this cap. It tends to dissipate the heat a little bit better. It's not too bad at all. This, not so much. But as far as performance goes, once you get over that, again, these iGo S's, they work pretty good. They're solid. The posts seem to be fairly solid. I haven't owned it long enough yet to see if it's going to stand the test of time. But I mean, these things all kind of have very similar design features, and frankly, this one, and you find them on the ECF Classies for like $75, or one of these for $20, or actually I think $16.99. But again, and this is the big caveat, is when I drilled this thing, that center is brass. It's brass, or it's chrome plated brass. And I know, and actually I subscribe to it as well too. Our juices do create verdigris, and verdigris, if you Wikipedia verdigris, that's that green kind of gunge that grows on brass. You Wikipedia it, they're saying that if you eat verdigris, it's poisonous. Now I have no idea why anyone would eat verdigris, but it is what it is. I'm not necessarily lighting my hair on fire over this whole thing. The reason being is because I tend to do a lot of maintenance on my devices. I'm continually taking them apart, putting new wick, monitoring the situation. They never get a chance to grow anything ugly or creepy. But, hey, you never know. Vaping is not safe, it's just simply risk management, or risk reduction as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, that's my take on the iGo S and modding it to bottom feed. Wigsworth out.